Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you.
hmm
We're curious, what time are you watching this and where are you tuning in from? Let us know. Welcome to our chat today. We like to look at simple things, things that can really boost how we feel day to day.
mm
And today, we're focusing on something wondrously straightforward, a morning drink. Just 5 natural ingredients. The thought here, well, it might just help with that little bit of extra around the middle. And maybe those digestive rumblings that, well, many of us sometimes deal with, especially as we get a little more seasoned. And what's really interesting is we're talking about maybe seeing some positive changes in as little as 10 days. This is based on some really quite credible science-backed research we've been looking into.
That's right. And what's fascinating, I think, is that we're not suggesting any drastic measures here, no complicated routines. It's really about how these gentle, natural ingredients can work with your body. It's about understanding some of those very common shifts that happen as we get older, especially after maybe 60 or so.
Okay, let's dig into that a bit because I know many of you listening can probably relate to what some of the research calls that silent struggle.
Hmm.
That feeling of, well, now I'm trying to eat pretty well, maybe taking a walk, but this weight around my tummy just seems, well, determined to stay put.
Uh-huh.
And my digestion, let's just say it's not quite as smooth sailing as it used to be. It can be really frustrating, can't it?
It certainly can. And if we step back and look at the bigger picture, it really helps to understand why these things might be happening. As we age, our systems naturally start to operate at a slightly different pace. Digestion might slow down a bit. Hormonal changes can, unfortunately, encourage fat to settle around the abdominal area more easily. Plus, our bodies might not process sugars quite as efficiently as they once did. And then there are things like stress, maybe not getting quite enough restful sleep. These can also play a role in holding on to that belly fat, things we often encounter more as we get older.
Hmm, it's good to know we're not alone in these changes, isn't it? Sort of part of the journey. But what's really encouraging, I think, from the research is this hopeful message that these common changes don't necessarily have to be permanent fixtures,
Mm.
and that a simple little morning habit like this drink could actually be a gentle way to make a real positive difference.
Exactly. And I like that word gentle. It's about a gentle nudge. We're not talking about anything extreme, just a simple 5 ingredient drink that could potentially support your digestion, maybe give your metabolism a little bit of encouragement, and help reduce that uncomfortable bloating, all without any harsh measures.
All right, then, let's get right to it. What are these 5 key ingredients in this simple morning drink?
Well, the research really emphasizes how wonderfully simple it is, and that's key, I think. No
Yeah.
special gadgets needed, no fancy powders or anything like that. It's all about gently working with your body's natural rhythms, kind of waking up the digestive system softly after the night's fast, just to set a positive tone for the whole day.
I really like the sound of that. A gentle wake-up call for the tummy. So go on, tell us, what are the 5 magic ingredients?
Okay, the 5 ingredients are warm water, raw apple cider vinegar, fresh lemon juice, ginger, and cinnamon.
That's it. That sounds incredibly doable. And I think the research even mentioned it takes just, what, a couple of minutes to stir together and uses things most of us probably have right in our kitchens already.
Precisely. And each of these common ingredients, well, they have some really interesting properties that can be particularly helpful as we get a bit older. Should we start with the first one? Warm water.
Warm water. Okay. It seems almost too simple, doesn't it? But the science suggests it's doing more than just, keeping us hydrated. It's like a gentle internal coaxing.
That's a lovely way to put it. Think of it as a gentle activator for your digestive system after it's been resting all night. Warm water can help relax the muscles in your stomach and intestines, which can really ease that feeling of being bloated or sort of tense inside.
Ah, that makes good sense. Like giving your insides a nice warm soak to start the day.
Exactly, and it does even more. That warmth can actually help your blood vessels widen a little bit, which improves circulation not just to your gut, but also potentially to your brain and muscles. Better blood flow. Plus, it helps get those important digestive enzymes flowing, the ones we need to break down our food properly.
So it's like getting the engine nicely warmed up and ready to go for the day.
Mhm.
And I think I saw something in the research about it maybe helping with feeling satisfied too.
Yes, that's another nice little potential benefit. Sometimes just having that glass of warm water first thing can create a mild feeling of fullness, which might just help you avoid any unnecessary snacking before your first proper meal.
That's a handy little bonus, definitely.
Yeah.
And wasn't there a nice story about a lady, Mary, I think, who found it really helped with that kind of stuck feeling?
Yes, Mary, she was 67, and she described exactly that, just feeling a bit sluggish, a bit bloated most mornings. Simply by adding a glass of warm water to her routine, she reported noticing a real improvement in her digestion and just how comfortable her tummy felt overall.
Wonderful. Simple but effective. Okay, so that's the humble warm water doing its work. What's next on our list of 5?
Okay, next up is raw apple cider vinegar. Now, it's important here that it's the raw, unfiltered kind. The one that looks a little cloudy. It might have strands of what's called the mother in it.
Right, the mother. I've definitely heard folks talk about that. So what does this cloudy stuff do for us? Especially for those of us maybe noticing a bit more around the middle these days.
Well, what's quite interesting is how raw ACV can gently nudge our metabolism. It contains something called acetic acid. And this acetic acid seems to help slow down how quickly our bodies absorb sugar from our meals, which means it can help keep our blood sugar levels on a more even keel, less prone to big spikes and dips after we eat.
And why is keeping that blood sugar steady so important for, say, belly fat?
That's a great question. When our blood sugar goes way up and then crashes down, it signals our body to store more fat, especially that stubborn fat around the abdomen. So by helping to keep things more balanced, ACV can improve something called insulin sensitivity. Basically, it helps our body use sugar more effectively for energy rather than just storing it as fat.
Okay, that connection makes a lot of sense. And the research also suggested it helps with the digestion process itself.
Yes, it can. Raw ACV may encourage your stomach to produce healthy levels of acid, which is really crucial for properly breaking down the food we eat, especially proteins. This can also help reduce that uncomfortable feeling of being overly full after a meal, and might even ease bloating for some people.
So it's kind of a double benefit, helping with digestion and giving our metabolism a little support. And I think I even saw a mention of cholesterol.
That's right. Some studies suggest that raw apple cider vinegar might play a role in helping to lower LDL cholesterol, the type often called bad cholesterol, which is definitely something beneficial for heart health as we age.
That is good news. And there was a story about a gentleman, Harold, wasn't there, who had a good experience with it.
Yes, Harold, he was 72. He mentioned he'd tried a few different things to tackle his persistent belly fat without much success. After adding just about a tablespoon of raw ACV to his warm water each morning, he felt his digestion was smoother, and interestingly, his cravings seemed to lessen too. He felt his body was cooperating a bit more.
That's wonderful to hear. Now, the research included a pretty important warning about ACV, didn't it? Something we need to stress.
Absolutely crucial. You should never drink apple cider vinegar straight from the bottle. It's quite acidic. It can be really irritating to your throat, your esophagus, and even the lining of your stomach. So always make sure to dilute it well in water, just like we're doing in this morning drink recipe.
Very important safety tip.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got warm water, raw apple cider vinegar. What's the third ingredient in our mix?
The third one is fresh lemon juice. This adds that lovely bright little spelling, of course, but more importantly, it acts as a gentle cleansing aid for the body.
A cleansing aid. I like the sound of that. What does it actually do?
Oh, it's interesting. Despite tasting acidic, lemon juice actually has an alkalizing effect on your body once it's metabolized. This can help balance your internal pH levels, potentially reducing inflammation, and it's known to be really supportive of your liver function. The liver is key for breaking down fats and helping your body get rid of waste products.
So it's like helping out our body's natural cleanup crew.
Precisely. Lemon juice also helps stimulate the production of bile and other digestive juices, which helps you break down your food more efficiently. Plus, it can encourage regular bowel movements, which can certainly ease that feeling of being backed up and bloated.
Yeah, it's packed with vitamin C too, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's always good.
Absolutely. A good dose of vitamin C gives your immune system a nice little boost. And it acts as an antioxidant, helping to combat something called oxidative stress in the body, which is linked to aging. Lemon juice might also help curb those sugar cravings a bit and support stable insulin levels, working nicely with the apple cider vinegar.
It really sounds like these ingredients are designed to work together synergistically. And there was a lovely story about Doris and how lemon juice made her feel.
Yes, Doris. She was 65. She described often feeling a bit sluggish in the mornings. After adding fresh lemon juice to her warm drink consistently, she said she felt, and this is her phrase, clean from the inside out. She noticed her digestion improved, her energy levels seemed to pick up, and she felt her tummy was a little flatter.
That's fantastic. Clean from the inside out really paints a picture. And I think the research mentions some potential benefits for our joints as well.
It did. The anti-inflammatory properties in lemon, partly due to the vitamin C and other compounds, might offer some comfort from minor joint stiffness and discomfort. That's something many of us experience more as we get older. And like warm water, it can contribute to feeling fuller, partly by supporting blood sugar and keeping you nicely hydrated.
Wonderful. Okay, we're 3 ingredients down. What's number 4 on the list?
Number 4 is ginger, fresh ginger root. This is a real powerhouse, well known for its ability to soothe and support our digestion. It's particularly helpful, the research suggests, for those of us whose digestive systems might be operating at a slightly slower pace these days.
Ginger, yes. I always think of it for when my tummy feels a bit unsettled.
That's one of its real strengths.
Hmm.
It's excellent at relieving bloating and gas because it helps food move more smoothly through your digestive tract. We call that motility. It also has some really potent anti-inflammatory properties. This isn't just helpful in the gut, but potentially beneficial for inflammation in our joints and muscles as well.
So it's helping in more ways than just digestion.
Exactly. And it can even give your circulation a little boost, which is always good. Some studies suggest it might gently encourage your body's calorie burning process too. Plus, of course, it's very well known for settling an upset stomach and reducing feelings of nausea. A very soothing root.
And those compounds, gingerols, was it, that the research mentioned?
Yes, gingerols. These are the main active compounds in ginger, and they're largely responsible for many of its powerful anti-inflammatory and antioxidant effects. Really good stuff.
Wonderful. And Bernice, I believe, had a nice experience with adding ginger.
She did. Bernice, who is 70, mentioned she often felt a bit self-conscious because of frequent bloating. After incorporating fresh ginger into her morning drink routine, she said she felt much more comfortable, less bloated, and more in control of her digestion throughout the day.
That's so encouraging to hear. It gives people tangible results.
Yeah.
And ginger has that lovely warming effect too, does it?
It does. It has what scientists call a thermogenic effect, which basically means it can create a gentle warmth and give your metabolism a tiny natural nudge. And that warm, slightly spicy flavor, it pairs really nicely with the tartness of the lemon and the apple cider vinegar.
It sounds like a very comforting yet effective combination so far. Okay, last but certainly not least, what's our 5th and final ingredient?
The 5th ingredient is cinnamon, ground cinnamon. This adds that lovely, familiar warmth and comforting flavor, of course, but it also packs some surprising health benefits, particularly when it comes to how our bodies manage sugar and fat.
Cinnamon, interesting. I usually just think of it sprinkled on toast or in apple pie.
Hmm.
So how does it help with, say, belly fat and digestion?
Well, what's quite interesting is how cinnamon seems to help our bodies process both sugar and fat more efficiently. It appears to improve insulin sensitivity. Remember, we talked about that with ACV. It means our body's cells respond better to insulin. This helps shuttle glucose, or sugar, into our cells to be used for energy, rather than having it hang around and get stored as fat, especially belly fat.
Ah, another one helping with blood sugar regulation. It really sounds like that's a key theme running through these ingredients.
It really is. It seems to be a major factor when we're talking about managing weight around the middle, particularly as we age. Cinnamon can also help lower blood sugar levels more directly after meals, further reducing the risk of excess fat storage. Plus, some people find it helps to curb those little cravings we sometimes get, especially for sweets or maybe even salty snacks.
Oh, now that sounds like a real win for many of us.
Absolutely. And on the digestive front, it might help reduce bloating that can sometimes be caused by imbalances in the bacteria living in our gut. Plus, like ginger and lemon, it's full of antioxidants and has anti-inflammatory benefits that can support our joints, our digestion, and just our overall well-being as we navigate the aging process.
So it's doing a lot more than just adding that lovely flavor. And Thomas, wasn't it, he had a nice little story about cinnamon affecting his snacking?
Yes, Thomas, he was 74. He mentioned being quite surprised at how his snacking habits seemed to shift after he started adding cinnamon to his morning drink. He found he just didn't have those strong urges for sweet things quite as often during the day. He felt it led to a calmer tummy, and over time, even noticed his clothes feeling a bit roomier.
That's fantastic. A simple spice making a noticeable difference. And the research mentioned something about natural antibacterial properties, too.
It did. Cinnamon possesses natural antibacterial properties, which might contribute to maintaining a healthier balance of microbes in our gut. And let's not forget the psychological aspect. That wonderful aroma and comforting taste of cinnamon, it can be quite soothing, maybe even help reduce stress a little. And as we discussed, less stress can indirectly help with managing belly fat, too.
It really does sound like all 5 of these simple, everyday ingredients work together in a very clever, synergistic way. So, okay, how do we actually put this drink together? What's the method?
It's really very straightforward, super simple. For one serving, you'll want about 1 to 2 cups of comfortably warm water. Not boiling hot, just nice and soothingly warm. To that, you add 1 tablespoon of the raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar and about 2 to 3 tablespoons of fresh lemon juice. Give those a little stir together first in the warm water.
Got it. Warm water, then the ACV and lemon juice. Stir. What's next?
Then you'll add about half a teaspoon of finely grated fresh ginger. Or, if grating is a hassle, you can just use a few thin slices of ginger. If you use slices, maybe let them just steep in the warm water for a minute or two to infuse. Finally, you sprinkle in about a quarter teaspoon of ground cinnamon, stir it all gently one last time, and it's ready.
And what's the best way or time to drink it?
Ideally, the research suggests sipping it slowly, preferably on an empty stomach, first thing in the morning. This gives the ingredients the best chance to be absorbed and start working effectively before you eat anything else. Now, some folks like to drink the whole glass right then and there. Others might prefer to have maybe half in the morning and save the rest for a little later, perhaps early afternoon. It's really about finding what feels best for your body and your routine.
That makes good sense. Personalize it a bit. Are there any little tips we should keep in mind for getting the best results or any precautions?
Yes, a few helpful things. Because of the acidity from the lemon and vinegar, if you're concerned about your tooth enamel over the long term, using a straw is a good idea. And regardless, it's always a good habit to just rinse your mouth with a little plain water after you've finished your drink. Just swish and spit. Also, consistency is really the key here. Don't fall into the trap of thinking that doubling up on the ingredients will somehow give you faster or better results. It won't. It's about gentle, daily support.
That's really good advice. Stick with the recipe. And a very important point you touched on earlier, checking in with your doctor.
Absolutely, that's paramount. If you're currently taking any medications, especially for blood sugar, blood pressure, or digestion, or if you have any existing digestive conditions like ulcers or acid reflux, it's really essential to have a quick chat with your doctor or healthcare provider before adding this drink to your routine, just to make sure it's appropriate for you. Safety first, always.
Couldn't agree more. And it's good to remember this is intended as a daily support, isn't it? Not some kind of miracle overnight cure.
Exactly. It's about incorporating it as part of a healthy lifestyle. Think of it as one helpful tool in your wellness toolkit. The science we looked at suggests giving it a consistent try for about 10 days. That seems to be a reasonable time frame to start noticing any potential subtle differences in how you feel.
Okay, so we commit to giving it a fair go for 10 days. What kind of changes might someone realistically expect or hope to notice in that time?
Well, after about 10 days of consistent use, many people report starting to feel a bit lighter, maybe noticing their tummy feels a little flatter, and that's often down to improved digestion and less bloating. Things are just moving along more smoothly. You might also find that those nagging little cravings, especially for sugary things, aren't quite as strong. That's likely due to the blood sugar balancing effects. More regular digestion is another common report relief from constipation, gas, or that general uncomfortable bloated feeling. And some people also notice a reduction in just general inflammation, which could possibly translate to feeling a little less stiffness in their joints, perhaps.
That all sounds very positive and encouraging. Small shifts that add up.
They really do. And what's interesting is that some individuals even report feeling a bit more mentally clear, maybe experiencing a little lift in their overall mood. And that could well be linked to the gut-brain connection. Better digestion and reduced inflammation often have positive ripple effects throughout the body, including how we feel mentally. We've heard from many seniors who mentioned that their clothes started to feel a little looser, just more comfortable, and that can bring a nice little boost in physical confidence.
It really does sound like the body just responding favorably to that gentle, consistent support we talked about earlier is not being forced, it's being helped.
Exactly that. And it's worth remembering that this simple morning drink, it's really more than just a recipe, isn't it? It can become a little ritual, a small act of self-care first thing in the morning. It's about taking just a couple of minutes to prioritize your own health and well-being, which is so important, especially as we enjoy our more seasoned years.
A little moment of kindness to yourself to start the day off right. I like that.
Precisely. It offers warmth, it offers support, and it gently encourages our body's natural processes. So we really encourage everyone listening to maybe consider giving it that 10-day trial. Pay attention, be mindful of how your own body responds. Then you can make an informed decision about whether you'd like to continue with it, maybe take a little break now and then, or perhaps adjust things slightly as needed. listen to your body.
And maybe even sharing those experiences, the ups and downs, can be really helpful and inspiring for others in the community too.
Absolutely, because often lasting positive change really does come from these small, consistent acts of self-kindness. It's not usually about grand gestures. It's a wonderful reminder that you are capable, you are absolutely worthy of taking good care of yourself, and that truly our best and most vibrant days can certainly continue well after we've turned 60, 70, or beyond.
Well, this has been incredibly helpful and wonderfully clear. Thank you so much for walking us through this simple, yet potentially very beneficial morning ritual.
It's been my pleasure. It's really all about empowering ourselves with a little bit of knowledge and then taking those small, consistent steps towards feeling our very best, isn't it?
It really is. And to all of you watching and listening, if you found this information helpful, please do give us a thumbs up. It really helps others find this chat. And consider subscribing if you haven't already for more helpful conversations like this one. And please don't hesitate to leave any questions you might have down in the comments below. We always enjoy hearing from you and reading your thoughts. Until our next time together, take good care of yourselves and be well.